Music stuff. This week was kind of slow for new stuff, at least. I think the big release was Future. I think that was
Yes.
pretty much it. But yeah, Future. I Never Liked You. Banger album title.
That's this album. It's
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Future, known for being making misogyny cool,
La di da di da.
and for La Di Da Di Da.
Oh, that's all I know him.
I haven't listened to a
Just
lot
that.
of I haven't listened to a lot of Future albums, mostly because by the time that I was like into this sound, he wasn't really dropping quality. He was mostly like his popular stuff was from like 2015 and 2016 and stuff, or his like well received stuff, I should say. But this one's pretty good. I mess with it. To get some crazy lines because it's Future. So it's got that kind of comedy twist
Yeah.
without trying to be comedic, which is always great. But it bangs. The production's great. Yeah, I don't listen to this stuff too often, but like every once in a while, it's like, yeah, just give me something like this. Trap can be good, and I've grown more into trap in the past couple of years, and this is pretty great. I just think with trap, it's like you get your Trippy Reds and everything and Kodaks, where I'm like, I'm not seeing it. But then the true top of the mountain here, when you got Future and Playboy Cardi, Young Thug, and all that. There's a lot of quality stuff out there, and I think people put trap on a lower standard compared to the rest of hip hop. But I mean, this stands up to everything else. But yeah, pretty great. Didn't like every song, but like, I mean, if it's a pretty good Future record, if like 14 out of 16 hit.
How are
mean-
the Drake songs?
The Drake songs are good.
Okay.
I didn't have any issues with the Drake songs. I think Wait For You, Drake had to get going a little bit. He was a little bit, certified lover boy whiny, but the second half of his verse was good. So
Okay.
I think it just took a little bit for him to get going. He
Sure.
had to get in the mood. But I feel like the tracks that were more like the straight bangers were my favorites. Like Holy Ghost is pretty sick. Keep It Burning was from Donda 2. And I guess they repurposed it and finished it and put it on this record, which makes more sense.
Does it sound better finished?
Yes, it sounded bad when it was on Donda 2 because Kanye just mumbled and then Future had a fully done verse. And then Kanye just mumbled again and then the song ended.
Yeah. That sounds like Donda 2.
Yeah, exactly. But this one's finished. Kanye does a pretty good verse. This was a lot better than his verse on Push's album. So I nothing cringy there. It was just nice, which is good. I feel like Kanye's in a
that's
very 50-50 space right now. So the 50%
Yes.
that is good happened here. But
Okay,
beats
good.
banging, pretty great. I love that there's a song called "Massaging Me" and it sounds like misogyny. That's brilliant. Like
Well, what's going on with Future?
I love that. Like it's weird that we've gotten Pusha T and Future, and both of them are playing into the meme of what they do, where it's like Pusha only raps about cocaine, and then he makes an album that has his most cocaine references ever, and then Future's like thing is like just being toxic to women, and then he just has a song called "Massaging Me," and it sounds like misogyny. It's like it's great.
They're playing into the bit.
Yeah,
I can respect
it's good. It's good. But yeah, pretty good album. I'm not going to listen to it like a whole lot, but I was definitely vibing with it.
Okay.
So very
Yeah,
good.
Vic.
Let me go back. That was the only
Look at
new
it.
release this week. I think Blue and Fat Lip had some kind of mixtape or album or something. I've listened to about half of that. And then IDK and Katronada are dropping a collab album eventually. There was a new one with Denzel Curry this week. I forgot to listen to it, so wah wah. I'm sure it's
What?
good though.
Okay.
So
Probably.
that was new stuff. I guess you can talk about the news.
I don't have a whole lot to say about it.
Okay,
just
we can
got
just bring it up, I
release
guess.
date. Yeah. I brought up the Post Malone listening party thing, or Instagram Live I did last week or 2 weeks ago.
That was last
I
week.
don't. And it turns out that my prediction was partly right for Kendrick, because that prediction ended up being exactly when Post Malone was dropping.
True.
So somehow, in some roundabout way, I ended up being right. Kind of not all. But the date June 3rd now means we're getting the new Post Malone record, 12 Karat Toothache. So, hooray. I don't know. He didn't say anything else. It's just the album cover is him blurry and red. with
Yeah, it's
a
very
light blue background.
very trendy.
Yes. It reminds me of that Denzel Curry.
Yeah, that's
Melt
the
My
trend.
Eyes.
You get
Yeah.
you get some clean gradients and some noise, and blur it a little bit, and you got an album cover.
I suppose that's true.
I mean, it works. I'm not
It
mad at
works. We'll have
Um,
to see how it goes.
Yeah, I think there's like
Um,
14 tracks on it.
14.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, which is the shortest one he's ever done.
Good.
Which is, it's either good or, I mean, it's probably good.
I would say
I would
good.
rather have a concise Post Malone record than a bloated Post Malone record.
Yeah.
Like Hollywood's Bleeding or Stony.
Yeah.
So
We'll see.
it's fine, yeah.
I don't know if we're doing a reaction or not. Might.
I would be
interesting.
down for that.
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting.
But that means that we're interrupting our fan marathon with Kendrick and Post.
That's fine.
That's, who cares? I
The
don't
fan
even care about
marathons will be there forever. The wheel will. These new releases, we got to get those out of the way.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Because those are fun. I like doing those. But
They are. And I like saying regrettable things that turn out aging bad 2 days
Exactly.
later.
Kendrick's going to be a trip.
Kendrick's going to be fun because I'm not going to like it, and then 2 months later, I'm going to really like it. if the Kendrick trend continues with how I feel about Kendrick albums on first listen. I still haven't listened to Section 80 because I'm scared that the same thing's going to happen. So maybe I
mean-
should listen to it in anticipation of.
You could.
But-
I've like traversed this whole catalog to the point where I don't need to get back into it. I feel like I can just pick up where we left off and be in it.
Well, last time we left off, we were at the beginning of Damn, or the ending of, if you are playing the backwards version
Yeah.
or the forwards version.
It's
I
not going
don't
to be
know.
connected at all. But I still remember everything that happened in all the albums, so I
What?
think we're good.
Okay. Well, I need to refresh myself on what happened in Hollywood's Bleeding before June 3rd.
Yeah, it's very important.
No. I think he said that the internet is bad, and then he said wow and goodbye. That's
Yeah,
all I remember.
with Young
Young
Thug.
Thug was in there somewhere.
Yeah.
SZA was on that record, and so was
Oh, yeah, she
Ozzy
was.
Osbourne.
Man, that record was so forgettable. That's nuts. There was a song with Ozzy Osbourne and Travis Scott, and we all just forgot about it.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
it's kind of crazy.
Huh. I might have to
liked-
listen to Beer Bongs and Bentleys just to remind myself that Post Malone can be really good.
I've been listening to it recently, past couple days. I've been
Might have to
listening
get back into it. In my White Boy Summer arc.
It's time for White Boy Summer.
White Boy Summer. It's time. Short King Spring's heading out. White Boy Summer.
Is that what we're calling it?
Of course.
I like that.
Yeah,
Short King
Short
Spring.
King Spring.
That's
Yeah.
either a time or a fountain of youth.
So yeah, I might get back into Beer Bongs before we do that, just to hype
Yeah.
myself up a little bit.
Listen to beer bongs, listening to Motley Crue, just
I
really
don't wanna
getting
listen
the
to
good
that.
stuff.
Yeah.
I'm worried about the track list. Whenever he
Yeah, I
announces
am
the
too.
track list, I'm gonna be so disappointing if Motley Crue's on it.
I feel like that record flopped and everybody knows it, so I would hope he would have the hindsight to be like, hey, well, he doesn't seem like he's having good things with
yeah,
his
that's
label
the
right
thing
now,
is that-
so the label might throw it on there for streams.
I think he needs to make like a JPEG Mafia move or something, or a Frank Ocean move, and just make his own label.
Yeah, that's
I
not
guess
easy.
Kendrick did that too.
I still feel like he needs 1 or 2 records before he's big enough to do that.
He's huge right now.
I know he's
He's, like,
huge, but like
the
he
biggest
is literally
name.
like a pop star, like cookie cutout.
Yeah.
I don't know how he could survive without a major label push right now, just
I
because
guess,
he doesn't have marketing and stuff. He's had all that done for him always.
right. I mean, people know, like, I feel like Post Malone at this point is a household name, but I don't think he
Yeah.
has the content to back up.
But how much money does he have outside of like sponsorship deals and
I
stuff?
don't
That's where
know.
most of his revenue probably comes from.
I
So
have no idea.
'cause
but-
Lil Sims just had to cancel her U.S. tour this week because she doesn't have funds because she's paying all for it out of pocket because she's not getting all the
Right.
revenue from her streams. She's getting like screwed on her stream revenue.
She needs to make a Lil Sims version of all of her songs like Taylor Swift. It's very easy when you.
Yeah, this is
are
very
one
easy
of
to
the
get
most
out of. It's not a
popular artists.
predatory music industry at all.
No.
But yeah, it sucks when independent artists and artists that are stuck in these like label take 70% of streams or 50% of streams or whatever, because then they
Yeah.
can't even tour, which is how artists usually make money. Because she'd lose
Yes.
money if she toured the U.S.
Which is crazy. But I don't know how popular she is.
She's very
she-
popular. And
Would she have the pull to
the
get,
UK
like
broke.
sell out places in US?
yeah,
Okay.
not like stadiums, but like she has power to sell things out.
Venues.
It's just
Okay.
the amount of money it takes into touring, it would still be a deficit.
Yeah.
So,
That's disappointing. I would have loved to see her.
oh yeah, for sure, that'd be a great show. So pay your
It's gotta
artist
be
money.
her.
Come on.
It's her and what is it? What's the guy from Playboy Cardi, the British guy?
Skepta.
Skepta, yeah. So those two. Those are the only two British artists I know right now. Other than all of the rock people. I guess in terms of hip hop.
In terms of
Lil
hip hop,
Sims and-
yes. We
I
do have a
already
lot of
forgot his
British
name.
people.
I
in
know
our
a lot of
reactions,
British
so.
groups. I know like Black Country, King Gizzard, Black
Charlie.
Charlie. You didn't correct me when I said King Gizzard.
I was too focused on saying Charlie.
I thought you were gonna cut me off. Be like, they're Australian, you idiot.
I mean, you just did it for me.
Hugh
so.
Jackman.
Hugh Jackman. Okay. I do have some other records this week.
Oh, good.
Almost done with Godspeed. I have one record officially left, but two records technically.
There's a secret record.
There's a secret record. There's a whole crazy backstory and how the band's first debut had like 33 copies on a cassette and they never released it. Blah, 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 blah. 2022, they released it. And it's just
Oh.
what you'd expect. It's from 1994 before they did anything and it wasn't that good.
Oh,
But I'm still going to listen to it.
okay.
But I think it was for like a charity or something. So
Oh,
they like finally released it. That's kind of like I think it's like a music nerd thing where everybody was like, "Oh, are they gonna release it?" They did it. But I do have one more officially to do. I have their last year one from 2021, but this week I listened to their 2015 Asunder, Sweet and Other Distress. It's all right. I mean, I feel like this one didn't need to exist. It's more droney. I just feel like they did like a metal drone album. So it's a little different, but it's a little slow. I feel like the last track is the only like really big moment where it's like, hey, this is really good. Everything else was just kind of like, good by their standard, but doesn't stand up to anything else they've really done. But then we have Luciferian Towers 2017. 8 songs, 43 minutes. This is weird because they have songs. There's no double-digit songs on this record,
what?
which is crazy.
It's like a real record.
A real record.
I'm just trying to piss off the Godspeed.
Yeah. I mean, technically, this could be 4 songs because there's part 1 and 3, like 1 to 3 for 2 of the tracks. So, I mean, technically, it still flows the pretty same way. But this one's their lowest rated. I don't agree with that. I think this is pretty great. I don't feel like Godspeed fans know what happiness sounds like, and this record has a little bit of triumph in it, so I think they're scared.
They should listen to the Porter Robinson record.
Yeah, you need some Porter Robinson in your life. But I mean, it's not like a positive record, but it's there's a triumph to it that the other records don't really have. There's like I don't know, it just seems a little bit more happy, which isn't saying much for them, but happier than the rest of the records. It's not as like dense, but still very nice. It's very rock heavy. Some of these tracks are actual, like, I feel like splitting up into 3 parts actually works here because all 3 of those parts can make an actual song. I mean, even though they're just movements in one part of it, but I still think it flowed pretty well. So I don't know. I might make just a recap video once I do their whole discog and just do a tier list or something.
That would be fun.
Just because there's a lot of records here and they're all great. But
And I'm not gonna like any of them,
exactly.
so I'm not gonna do videos on them.
I'll just have you sit in the corner of the video.
Just it's like a Frozen picture of.
Yeah.
And I'm playing Animal Crossing New Leaf on my 3DS.
Yeah, 3DS. So
Yeah.
discog's almost over for them. I also listened to my first Brian Eno record this week.
Did it sound like the MGMT song?
No.
Oh, that's too bad.
I listened
That's a
to
fun
Ambient 1, Music for Airports,
Oh,
1978.
the airport song.
It is. I think this is kind of the birth of ambient as a genre. At least I think that's kind of what the backstory of it is. But I think he basically said, I want to make music that's interesting, but also not interesting enough where you could have a conversation over it and not interrupt anything. Like music that you can dip in and out of without caring about missing something, basically. A
Okay.
fancy way to say background music.
Yes.
But this is very nice background music, I'll tell you. They should play this in airports. That'd be a lot more soothing than whatever's in airports now.
I don't
But
know.
yeah, it's kind of got that tranquility of like, I guess to reference Porter Robinson, like wind tempos where not much is happening, but it's like great,
Oh, yeah.
like that tranquil kind of thing. That's kind of what this record does. So very nice to have on while working and doing stuff. It's a very positive, light record. Really great. A lot of this, since it was like in 78, I think was like on tape loops, and like he would have to physically like loop it over again and then add instruments over the next loop and then loop it again. So it's a lot more tedious. It's like working with film instead of digital.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It sounds really nice. There's not much to it because it is ambient. There's 4 tracks. The 17-minute song is basically the same kind of loop over and over again. But then you got some like choir things on like 2-1, and then it's a pretty great record. And it's one of those where it's just like ambient music, not a lot to talk about, but like it's pretty great. I can definitely see why Brian Eno's kind of like the man when it comes to it.
When it comes to ambient,
When it comes to ambient, I think he does a lot of soundtracking stuff too.
that makes sense.
He does have a film music series. Or it looks like he did film music for different genres of movies,
Well, that's interesting.
which is interesting. I feel like I'm just gonna go through ambient like 1 through 4, like that main series.
Okay.
I don't know why. He started with like music for airports, and then the second one's like the Plateau of Mirror.
Oh.
It's like not really.
That's actually-
Doesn't really
Oh,
fit
yeah.
the theme here, but we'll see. I mean, music for airports didn't really sound like music for airports. That would have been like the prettiest airport known to man, probably.
Oh.
But-
You should make like one that's like music for train stations. And
Music for train stations, and it's just
Stuff. Music for a
train.
McDonald's in a small town in rural Iowa.
Music for the McDonald's play place. Music
should just
for
make-
being in the mall at 2 a.m.
Yeah, you should make those edits where it's like you're sitting in the bathroom at a party at 2 a.m. It's raining outside.
Yeah.
And Joji's slow dancing in the dark speakers.
Genius.
Yeah. Just get really specific.
Hmm.
That's what I want.
But
In a Brian Eno record.
exactly. But yeah, that was pretty cool. I very much enjoyed that. Good background music. So if you ever need anything while walking or anything, some Brian Eno, just tranquil. I need to do a lot of nature walks, and I have a lot of music for nature walks queued up. So once it gets nice outside, like finally, it's like always like 2 days that it's nice, and then it just dips down into sadness again.
Days. Yeah, one day.
I've
Yeah,
been
you get
walking
1 day.
around with Porter Robinson on. It's very nice.
Yeah, I need to do that.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
I think.
On the opposite of that, not nice. After Godspeed's over, I am going into Swans. So
Oh.
pray for
That's
me, I
not-
guess. I listened again to the first disc of To Be Kind yesterday. And that is such a demented record, but like I do really like it. I feel like the first listen just caught me off guard. I've kind of watched like a summary of them, so I kind of have more context of what the records were and where I should start and where I should stay away from until I'm more experienced in them. Swans is a band that literally is a chore. Like you are physically torturing yourself getting into them. So
Why? Why would anyone want to do that?
because the payoff is so good. I mean, like these are like, why do you watch horror movies? Why do you do any of that stuff? You know what I mean?
I don't like horror movies.
Or like thrillers or anything like that. It's very challenging, but like it's also can be one of the most gratifying things once it finally hits. But yeah, this thing's
Suppose.
terrifying. Like it's a slow build into terrifying too. I don't know what the second disc sounds like, but the way the first disc ended, like as soon as Bring the Sun started and then into the fifth track, like that's 40 minutes of music right there, and it gets just more and more demented as it goes. I don't know what the second half's gonna sound like, but I don't know. I'm starting with this one first. This one's 2 hours long. I wanted to go into Soundtracks for the Blind, but that's 2.5 hours.
It's longer than Everything Everywhere.
Yep. So I have a 14-hour road trip coming up. I might torture myself with Swans. That might be a perfect time for me to be able to just sit down and actually get through it. Because I feel like I need that. I get distracted too easily. I mean, Godspeed clicked immediately, so I didn't have to train myself to like be in the right space to listen to it, because it all felt very natural and it just clicked with me immediately. And like I love all the records. I feel like Swans needs to hit that one moment where it just clicks, and then I can not easily, but easier go through their catalog and not like be like, where should I go? But I don't know. Bring the Sun is one of the rawest musical experiences I've had. So
So there's
yeah.
that.
That hits different when it's like late at night and there's not much going on and it's like dark inside and outside and that's just happening, and it is terrifying, but also it's like really great. So yeah, I'm gonna do To Be Kind and then probably Soundtracks for the Blind, and then from there I don't really know where to go. There's a lot. From what I've watched, like through the 80s through like 95, they were a very different band. And then Soundtracks for the Blind came out, and like a lot of people call that the best album ever made. So I'm pacing myself to get to that one.
Better than OK Computer.
Yeah, I think so. But then they took a hiatus from like 2001 to like 2010. So they have like different band members and stuff. But then like they had the Seer, To Be Kind, and then the Glowing Man. And a lot of people put those like near the top of theirs, and like, yeah, those are all beasts of records. The Seer is 2 hours, To Be Kind's 2 hours. I think the Glowing Man's 2 hours as well. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm gonna start it. I don't know how I'm gonna get through it, but
You're gonna be Joker by the end of this.
oh yeah, I had to be in a good mental state before getting into all this stuff, because if I was in a bad mental state before getting into all this stuff, then like that's not good. This is demented music to observe, not be like surrounded by, if that makes sense. I'm simply an observer, and this is not how my emotions feel right now.
Well, that's good.
Unless the record gets that bad, then it's gonna be like, oh boy. But yeah, this record will just induce trauma on me probably. But
That's awesome.
that's what we got to do for art, you know. We'll sacrifice a little bit.
No, I've never felt that way.
Unfortunate.
I suppose.
I'll
I
just
watched
phrase
a
it. I'll just
rom-com
phrase it that
this-
I'm finding music to scare the hose to like the maximum degree. Like, what's
Okay,
the
I-
scariest music?
I completely
hose.
understand.
There you go. Sometimes you just gotta
It
phrase
just
it different.
it just clicked.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna listen to it.
Exactly.
I think you've turned me around.
I feel like To Be Kind for You would be like the equivalent of like government torture. Like, we are gonna get information out of you.
That scene.
If
in
not, we're gonna
Clockwork
play you To Be
Orange,
Kind.
There's a scene in the Clockwork Orange where they have his eyes pried
Yeah,
open. And
it's
he's
just
watching
that.
rape and torture.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what that would be like for
Yep.
me.
Yeah, but it's an eye-opening experience so far. So I got through Godspeed. Godspeed's fantastic, and it clicks so much with me. And they're fantastic records. 2 of them are absolutely perfect by every degree. Apparently, Swans has like 5 masterpieces, so that will be my second thing. Usually, I only go through like one artist whole discography per year, but I'm kicking it up a notch this year, I guess.
Wow.
And I do want to get through Kate Bush eventually too. So I don't know. There's a lot.
Man,